And, I think it can be really frustrating to me at times, and I think it's difficult. I think a lot of people sometimes think I'm a robot. I'm not a robot. I have emotions, I have feelings, and it can be really difficult to go through a lot of that. And
now we heard a bunch of talk about, Fever fan, Caitlin Clark fans sticking together and no showing the games and boycotting the game and this and that. And man, oh man, this picture doesn't spell good news for the WNBA. I'm just gonna blow this up here. This does not look good. This does not look good. You can see empty seats all over the place.
Right now, behind the closed doors of the WNBA front offices, absolute panic has taken over. The league's multi-million-dollar financial infrastructure isn't just shaking. It is actively collapsing into total ruin. Just hours after the league tried to smooth things over by handing Caitlin Clark the Player of the Month trophy, she turned around and dropped a bombshell final statement that has left USA basketball completely paralyzed. But it's what happens next that has everyone terrified. It is officially confirmed Caitlin Clark is out for Sunday's game. And the moment that official injury report hit the wire, something unprecedented happened. Ticket algorithms froze. Stadium seats went from sold out to practically worthless in a matter of seconds. Insiders are tracking an immediate, staggering 5% drop in the entire WNBA global fanbase overnight. Millions of eyes are turning away from the league, and the financial bleeding has only just begun. But if you think this is just a standard rest day or a minor injury update, you are being lied to. It goes infinitely deeper. Her teammate Sophie just stepped up to the microphone with a brutal, heartbreaking message that completely tore down the league's authority. Before refusing to take the court, they uttered words that broke the system to its core. WNBA thought they could protect the status quo, but they never expected Clark to fight back like this. Stay tuned, because we are breaking down the hidden footage the league is trying to scrub from the internet. To understand why Sunday's game is facing a massive fan boycott, we have to look back at the exact moment the fuse was lit. It wasn't just a regular basketball play. It was an escalating, targeted moment of aggression. Alyssa Thomas delivered a devastating dirty punch that left everyone in the arena and millions watching at home completely paralyzed in disbelief. It was clear, it was flagrant, and it was dangerous. But what did the referees do? They looked the other way. The officials on the floor acted like nothing happened, actively protecting the veterans while leaving the league's biggest asset completely defenseless. The hierarchy expected Caitlin to just take the hit, stay quiet, and keep bringing in the billions of views. They wanted her to play the good soldier.
I think things like that, and I think a lot has obviously come after that, and as I've stood up here and said before, like the harassment, the hate, none of that is okay. That goes for the opposing team we play, that goes for my teammates, that goes for my coaches. There should never be a question of character. Like, I've always stood up here and said that, and that's truly what I believe. That's how I was raised. So, none of that is okay, and I don't want anybody to ever experience that. I think it can be really frustrating to me at times, and I think it's difficult. I think a lot of people sometimes think I'm a robot. I'm not a robot. I have emotions, I have feelings, and it can be really difficult to go through a lot of that. And I'm 24 years old trying to navigate a lot, and I think at times I've been in this world for 4 years now, and you would never change any of it, but there are times that it is hard, and there are times that it probably affects me a little bit more than I do put on, and I would never change any of that for the world, but I think it's important that people do remember that part of it too. So at the same time.
But they completely miscalculated who they were dealing with. Immediately after being named Player of the Week, Clark went on the absolute warpath. She completely blasted Alyssa Thomas's post-game lies, exposing the toxic narrative being spun behind the scenes. She didn't just call out the play. She called out the systemic hate and the double standards that the higher-ups have been quietly encouraging for months. The statement was raw. It was aggressive. And it completely stripped away the league's polished PR mask. But the real shockwave, the moment that truly broke the league, didn't even come from Caitlin alone. It came from the locker room. Enter Sophie. Up until now, players have been terrified of speaking out due to heavy fines and corporate censorship. But seeing the absolute lack of protection for her teammate pushed Sophie completely over the edge. In a furious, unfiltered backstage confrontation, Sophie let loose on the league representatives. Sources close to the team reveal that her words were so severe, so damaging to the WNBA's image that officials tried to stop the cameras from rolling. She demanded to know why the league is actively weaponizing their top stars for profit while letting them get hunted on the court. The anger was palpable. Sophie made it clear that they are no longer willing to be treated as corporate products in a rigged system. This wasn't just a teammate defending another teammate. This was a full-scale mutiny against USA Basketball's leadership. They sent a clear ultimatum. Protect the integrity of the game or watch the entire empire burn down. And by the looks of Sunday's game, the empire is already on fire. Now, let's talk about the cold hard numbers because this is where the WNBA's nightmare becomes a reality. The league's entire modern infrastructure, from primetime television contracts to massive luxury brand endorsements, was built on a single fragile pillar, the Caitlin Clark effect. The executives thought they owned the audience. They thought that even if Clark was sidelined, the fans would still show up, buy the merchandise, and eat the overpriced concessions. They were dead wrong. The moment the news went official that Clark was out for Sunday, the entire house of cards collapsed. Ticket resale markets plummeted by over 80% in value. Stadiums that were projected to bring in millions in revenue are suddenly looking at ghost town attendance numbers. Nobody is coming.
A fever organization, that thing in between their ears, called a brain, they don't really use it. And when they do use it, they don't use it well. Oops. Moving on. Caitlin Clark also named the Eastern Conference Player of the Month by the WNBA. Now, this actually surprises me. Not that she doesn't deserve it, but that they actually gave it to her. You know what I mean? Not that she doesn't deserve it, because I know she does. But after all this hoopla, after all this hoopla, if you get it, if you get that reference, you get that. What a load of hoopla. Her winning the Eastern Conference Player of the Month, I'm surprised the WNBA gave it to her with all of this stuff going on. Averaging 21.9 points per game, 45.6% from the field, 8.2 assists, and 4 rebounds per game. Historical numbers. Historical numbers. So shout out to Caitlin Clark for winning Eastern Conference Player of the Month. Now this is Rose Gold. Her last name's harder to pronounce than Shanae's. This is Rose Gold talking about Caitlin Clark. Should she publicly address the online hate? Let's take a look.
Do I think Caitlin should say something? I don't think that she has the responsibility to. I think it's still a lot. It's unfair to put that on a player, but I have a lot less grace for it than I did in 2024, where I was like, hey, you know, she just got here. There's so many people using her to, you know, further agendas. She's a kid, blah, blah, blah. This is now 3 years into her career. And if she's silent, it's her decision to do so. And it will be read as such. I don't think she has to, but the choice to be silent is also an action. And that will be judged. And for me, this is the opinion of Roz, I think it would be cool to hear from Kayla. I think she's a good person. I'm sure she's not at all, you know, hoping these types of things happen to her fellow colleagues of the WNBA. I think it'd be cool if, like, she was like, yo, don't do this.
And this
5% drop in core viewership is just the tip of the iceberg. Mainstream corporate sponsors are reportedly holding emergency panic meetings right now. They didn't sign multi-million-dollar deals to broadcast empty arenas and dirty plays. They signed up for the revolutionary momentum of the new era. By choosing to back Thomas and the old guard instead of protecting their franchise player, the WNBA leadership has successfully alienated their most lucrative audience. The money infrastructure is fundamentally broken and there is no quick fix. This brings us to the ultimate question that is currently sending shock waves through the entire sports world. Is this just a one-aim absence, or are we witnessing the final days of Caitlin Clark and Sophie in the WNBA? The language used in their final joint declarations wasn't about recovery or returning stronger next week. It was about deep-seated betrayal. Insiders are whispering that discussions are quietly happening behind closed doors regarding their future with USA Basketball entirely. If the league refuses to implement severe disciplinary actions against dirty plays and corrupt officiating, a permanent walkout is no longer an impossibility. It's a highly probable reality,
A lot of the times, and we can do better at that. and I think it'll help our game grow a lot more. And that goes for obviously the Fever and whatever. But at the same time, you guys are here in this arena every time we play. And the amount of people that are passionate and love the game and respect the other team and the young girls and the young boys that show up, like, we can't lose sight of that. And that's whether we're here at home and whether that's we're on the road. And, there's a lot of really, really great people that, love this league and love our organization. And, I'm thankful to be here in an organization that has my back and will always stand up for me. And, I think we can't ever lose sight of that. Like, the joy and the fire and the fun, like, that's why you play this game. And I think it kind of goes back to a little bit of my frustration. Like, I remember seeing a headline is like, and I don't remember who wrote this, and I try to stay away from social media as much as I can, but sometimes it can be hard. Like, I need to be aware of certain things, and obviously my team makes me aware of certain things. And it was like, the headline read like, this season has been everything but fun, and they're just full of frustration for Clark and the Fever. And I'm like, no one ever asked me that. Nobody ever asked me that. Like, that's wrong. Like, they're like, discuss my play. Discuss if I played bad. Discuss if I played good. Like, discuss our play. And at times I understand there's other things that need to be talked about. Great, whatever. But let's continue to move on and, things like that. And, but I think just focusing on the joy and the amazing parts of this game, like I said, I think it's sometimes a disservice to not only our team, but to everybody else. And, let's get back to a lot more smiling and positivity. I think our world could use a lot of that. And then
does the league provide for you guys as players to kind of help you try to filter through some of the hate and negative things that come through on social media?
I think that honestly, I don't know what our league does to help with that. If they really do anything, you can put out statements as much as you want, but at the end of the day, you're in an entertainment business. That's when mental toughness comes in. If you're going to live by praise, you're going to die by the hate. And so I think that's on the individual person to have mental toughness. Some people can deal with it, some people can't. And I think you can see the ones who can. And unfortunately, there are some who can't. And it's not beneficial to them. But you can't control what other people say or what other people do. All you can do is control yourself, how you treat people. Speak up, and support people who, maybe don't have a voice or don't have the courage to do that. But it's one of those things. You're in the entertainment business and you have to expect it.
How do you try to filter through some of that stuff, or you just avoid it?
I don't know if you guys don't know, but I don't care. Like, I don't care. And I think that's with the good stuff, like the meme, like, I think that's funny and it's cool, but like, is that my whole identity and that's what I'm thriving on? No, it's not. Like, I think it's funny. But yeah, I just don't care. I think people are funny, people are dumb, and they let them do them. I'm just going to stay.
They said things before walking away that have permanently fractured the trust between the players and the front office. The WNBA thought they were too big to fail, but they forgot one crucial detail. The fans don't care about the league. They care about the truth. And right now, the truth is pointing toward a massive historic exit. The league wanted to silence this story, but the numbers speak for themselves. Sunday's game is going to be a ghost town, and the executives are sweating through their suits.